All right, so it's the second day at PAX East, and we've got a huge interview today with Jeremy Gaffney of Carbine Studios. He likes to call himself the president. I like to call him the grand magistrate of MMO design.
I prefer Poobah personally, but I'll take what I get. It's miraculous we are both still awake, alive, and mostly sober on the second day of PAX. This is truly impressive. This may be a record actually for both of us.
Achievement unlocked, supposedly. All right, so WildStar, it's one of the biggest upcoming MMOs. All right, for the people that don't know anything about WildStar at all, there's too much to talk about in this interview. But today I'd like to focus on just a couple of things. One, why would somebody ever take a chance on WildStar who has never played an MMO before?
That's actually a really good question. We're a brand new IP. We're a new world, and this is good in some ways because we get to do our own crazy things with what's going on in the world. We get our own goofy stuff we get to do in terms of lore, in terms of mechanics, in terms of all of that. The downside is we don't get Jedi, we don't get orcs, we don't get lightsabers, we don't get all the cool stuff you already know. So we have to earn every new person who comes into WildStar. We got to earn them. We got to be cool enough. We got to be showing them neat raids or war plots or stuff they haven't seen before. We got to take what their old game did, but do it better to lure them out of whatever game they're in. We got to earn them if they're going to come in our game. So we're doing our damnedest to make sure we do.
Fair enough. I think it's a pretty good answer. And the thing is, you lure hardcore MMO fans in here. I mean, the last big one, I think Guild Wars 2 or such, people want more out of the end game. And that's something that you guys have been emphasizing a lot here. Being the second year of PAX, I believe, you guys have just been showcasing this game all over. So why don't we quickly talk a little bit about some of the end game. You said you just revealed a couple of level 50 zones?
Yeah, we just did. Yesterday at our panel, we showed off all sorts of stuff. Because we think, okay, leveling has to be fun. Combat can't be boring. You got to have cool variety in your zones. You got to have good story. You got to have all this stuff just to have your base MMO. But the average end game is you sit there and you wait for the devs to patch in an end game and you pray a lot. So we are trying to do that a little bit better. We've been in beta now for over a year, and part of that has been making sure we have not just a cool leveling game, but we also have a full end game in. So we got 2 level 50 zones in there for soloers. They're chock full of public events so that you can not just solo, but you kind of get lured into that group stuff. A lot of people, 60-something% of people like mostly solo, massively single player game is what they're playing. They need cool stuff to do. So we not only give them cool zones, we not only make sure they're chock full of good stuff and interesting stuff you haven't seen, we're advancing the world story, and then we have a bunch of monthly patches in the queue to be able to have more and more and more and more come out for these folks. But maybe you don't like soloing. Okay, awesome. We got raids. We got raids cooler with more crazy stuff going on than anything you have seen before in any game, I will personally guarantee. We have, on top of that, you capture a raid boss, you bring it to your war plot, now you have your own customizable fortress where you can fight raid boss against raid boss or eating other people while you build your fortress using our housing system. We try to not just have the game, yes, we want a fun leveling game, but there's got to be cool stuff for you to do at cap, and it's got to be there at launch is the other half of it.
You don't have much of a choice. It's got to be there, otherwise people are going to eat you up, right?
Yeah, the lovely thing about our business is it is a meritocracy. If you do not earn people staying and playing, you lose them. This is not a box game business where you put a big marketing campaign, you have a glitzy name, no, and then you sell a bunch of boxes and the game stinks and no one cares. No. If marketing sells games, only good gameplay will keep you in there for the long haul. And what we want is players in there playing for years. We don't want players playing in there for a month and going, I'm on to the next thing.
An MMO could be an investment for some people, and I appreciate candid answers like that. I'm sure that the MMO crowd out there does as well. So we touched briefly upon raiding. How hardcore can you be for a raid? Also, for the people that maybe just casually play MMOs, really enjoy them, what is there for them? Like, how do we actually build them up to get to that crescendo?
So we are trying to turn our game into a giant machine that will take in new players and be like, okay, come to us. We have pretty things. We have cool little psychopathic hamsters running around and chew balls. We have all this neat stuff to sort of lure you in. And now combat. Hey, we'll make it easy. We're going to paint on the ground and here's where your attack's going to happen. Here's where the enemy attack is. So now you can dodge. Oh, here, we'll teach you how to dodge. We'll teach you how to react to these things. We'll give you tools so that you can actually learn to fight in a skilled fashion. And then, but we've tricked you. Now you get into a dungeon. Now you realize these same things you're putting on the ground are now telling your party members what you're doing. I'm putting a big heal over there. I'm going to do a big hellstorm thing in the middle of the room, so kick all the enemy monsters in the middle of the room. This is now a communication method. Then you get into raiding and you just see insane stuff with giant spinning spirals of death because we've used this base mechanic and just taken up to the next level and then the next level and then the next level. And then we're like, hell with it, one more level. And so the goal of all this really, though, is have a hardcore game. Because we're all hardcores. We've all been playing MMOs for years. We're part of the jaded MMO crowd. That's why we speak to them, is because, yeah, that would be us. And so, but we don't want a game that's so hardcore the newbies will never get in, so we want to lure them in and we want to teach them mechanics to bring them up so that they can be elite someday too. And then we do that exactly by teaching without you knowing that you're being taught.
Fair enough. I think that's a good way to lure them in, perhaps.
It's like a roach motel, except that's probably the worst possible single example to give.
But it's there. We've got it. Not deleting it.
Oh.
All right, so let's wrap this up with a little bit of exploration talk. You probably know by now I'm a big exploration fan. Back with Asheron's Call, I still think that's probably the best MMO for exploration purposes. I really want something to come along, and I think it could be WildStar, that rewards players for actually taking the time to explore the environments, to find the secrets, to actually engage in the environment. There just isn't any MMOs out there that do that. They just put you in a stilted environment, want you to kill all the stuff, complete all the quests in the area, and it opens up to the next one. That's their form of exploration. What do you got?
So, we have built an entire system just around you, very specifically. We call it the Andrew Whipple system, actually. And this system is, actually, we call it to most people paths. The paths let you choose what you like. Some people love exploration. Some are like, nah, I want more combat. Some like story. Some want socializing. Choose your path, you get what you want. So explorers for us, about 20% of the content rolls over to be about exploration. You can unlock, you get benefits for going to the highest mountains. You get benefits for following rivers, unlocking your map, for finding those areas you thought we might not have artified because they're behind the trees now. We'll reward you for going over there. We stick like nodes underneath the ground, hidden tunnel systems explorers can unlock, and you can bring your friends, your dorky friends who just like combat like soldiers or socializing and stuff you don't care about. Bring them with you, and now you all travel faster under the zone in this hidden tunnel system. So you get to feel cool because you've unlocked it, but you also get to show off in front of your friends. That's a key component of all this, is that social aspect. Not just for the socializers, but for everybody. And that pays off. Raids, there's stuff that is designed around that explorer mindset. In war plots, there's stuff explorers can unlock. Battlegrounds, we try to make it so your path has an influence on you in all the content that you do, because we know your class is about choosing how you want to fight. But your path is kind of about who you are. You're always going to love exploration. You might try, some of the other paths for fun eventually, but you yourself are an explorer, and so that's we try to make the game about you.
And I think I'm a bit sold on it. I really do. And we'll see. Okay, so
I'm in full sale mode now because A, we love our game. B, we're getting great buzz out of our beta players. They tell us when we screw stuff up, our beta players will tell us. And C is now that we're driving to launch, it is all about like, hey, how many people can we come in, have fun? If you love our game, we want you in there having fun. If you don't like it, awesome. Tell us what you don't like, and so we can add that in for the next batch of people come in. So that is our main focus of the next 2 months is drive.
An ambitious and obsessed man with the community, Jeremy. All right, so when's this game coming out? I know you've already dropped a release date.
Yep, June 3rd we're coming out. We've been training ourselves for so long to do these updates. We're keeping on doing like ginormous updates coming in. So we got a couple more big updates hitting, and then from there it's going to lead into our post-launch plans, which are kind of equally spectacular. Make sure that people keep on having cool stuff to do as it goes forward. So June 3rd is the date. If you pre-order, you can get in a head start and start a couple days earlier before everybody else in the end of May. Exactly. Go in there and make sure that you're the top guy on your server, and then from there things keep on rolling. Hopefully we have a smooth launch. We will try, while cramming in massive amounts of stuff and making sure everything's in there and polishing everything. We're going to try to have a stable launch, but we will see. Your average MMO usually has small problems around that time frame.
All right, so in the final crunch mode, I got to ask you this question. This is kind of fun. What is your go-to crunch time food?
Wow. So for me, I have to admit, pizza has been the number one. It is a time-honored choice. So when I was working on Asheron's Call back in the day, for Turbine, we very specifically, Mountain Dew was our number one caffeinated drink. And so we actually, because that's near Boston, we actually were collecting enough Mountain Dew bottles that we were drinking to build a raft to sail across the Charles Rivers with. And so this took, honest to God, so this was going to take 950 bottles. We modeled out, like the artists all modeled it out on the screen to figure out how we were building our raft, our Mountain Dew raft. We should have gotten like such sponsorship for this. And then one of the things we happened to do at Turbine back in the day, we were a startup, we ran out of money, as we did fairly often. And so one of our programmers took our 750 bottles of Mountain Dew, sold them for 5 cents each recycling, so it's about 35 bucks, and he spent it all on beer. Given that we were a paycheck or two behind, I do not blame him, but he actually sold our raft for beer. So Mountain Dew actually has been the number one time-honored classic for food, but we never got our raft. And Daniel O'Brien, if you're still out there in the industry, you drank our raft. I will find you. I will find you someday, and I will extract beer from you.
goodness. Threats and WildStar and Jeremy Gaffney. Yes. Can't wait for WildStar this summer. Jeremy, it's been fantastic.
Hey, good to see you. Good luck cutting any of this into little sound bites, man. I will give you far too much info to ever be able to use this video for anything else. You can never cut in someone else for me. Good talking to you, man.
Take care.